like if you can help your customer achieve the goal, regardless if they go with you or not, like you win.
If we're competing against every other priority in the organization, you're not just selling a off-the-shelf product anymore. You're selling consultant services.
Yeah, I mean it just seems like that's like people will pay McKinsey or BCG, Boston Consulting Group, whoever, like they'll pay them $500,000 to bring in and say like, hey, we have an issue in this, how should we be thinking about this problem?
Yep.
That's the kind of mindset I want to shift towards when it comes to just selling in general, instead of just creating all these sequences of phone calls, emails, things like that. It's, you know, creating articles for people to read. It's, having video testimonials or whatever it might be to, so it's not just like again, like asking for time. It's just creating these point of views to where like, hey, we're an expert in this topic in this industry. You should be wanting to talk to us if you're having this type of problem or this type of initiative. And so like if I was if I was a director of IT and I was focused on print management and I started finding articles on LinkedIn from sellers in that region writing about this problem, it's like, oh shit, like they know what they're talking about. Like that's the first person I'm going to go and talk to and see what they have going on.
Yep.
It's like people are coming to us asking for like, oh, we're thinking about doing this. What do you think? Type of thing, instead of like, oh, this is all of our good stuff going on. What do you like? Putting it back on them. It's just flipping the process a little bit.
Yeah, you're not just selling a off-the-shelf product anymore. You're selling consultant services where you
Yeah.
help them frame the problem, you help them think through what they want to do and the best way to do it. And ideally, that leads to your product because that's what you're selling and that's probably where your point of view comes from. But even if it doesn't, positioning yourself as the consultant and expert where they should essentially be paying thousands of dollars for your time and your expertise that you have on the subject is a really important frame, I think, to have, especially in strategic selling.
Yeah, because you're not talking to, you have 10, 15 accounts, probably max, that you're trying to work into. So it's understanding their business probably better than they do, or understanding the problem better than they do itself. And once you get into a higher threshold of sales, you are going to be competing against, you know, PhD consultants and things like that. So it's the way you compete in that field without that type of brand is being an expert on that. And so,
Yeah. A big thing I think you've obviously seen, I've seen, is that we're not just competing against other print management products either. We're competing against every other priority in the organization. And if all we know is our product and how our product can help people, we don't actually understand the problem. We're not actually able to frame the problem for the customer, estimate the impact of the problem, the potential benefits of solving the problem and reasons the organization should care about print management, then it's going to be much more difficult to sell because they have to come to that conclusion themselves. And how often are they able to sit down, frame the problem in the way that they probably should in order to look at our solution? And so we're almost coming in 3/4 of the way into the sales cycle if we're coming at it from the approach of just selling a product.
right.
But if you're the expert and you can help people frame the problem and even see that there is a problem and compare it to all the other initiatives and priorities in the organization and frame it in a compelling way to where the value of solving that problem is very high on their list, then you take on the full sales cycle for them. And you are a trusted consultant and advisor as opposed to a product expert that spews out technical information.
Right. And I think a key too is, especially like in this article, like I never once manage Printalogic or Bayesian. And even in business cases and writing, you always want something to be solution agnostic, so they can just go in and see the problem itself and maybe how to rethink solving that problem. But the minute you start throwing all your marketing collateral and whatever, you start losing the trust, because it's like, okay, like they don't care about actually figuring this out with me. It's just eventually teeing it up to pitch whatever product they had. And so like if somebody were to read this article and say, okay, I want to pick your brain on this, it's not due to, they might ask like, oh, like, you might have something that can solve this, and then you can tee that up, but it's not just about the benefits of what your product can and can't do. It's just about solving the overarching problem and then working towards whatever end goal that is. If that's your product, great. If not, I think Mosey says this too, like if you can help your customer achieve the goal, regardless if they go with you or not, like you win because you're untouchable. Same thing with like Josh Braun, like detaching from the outcome type of thing. And in sports, detaching from whatever outcome it is. Like if you can start transitioning to that with your customers, then you're unbeatable.
I love it. The example I'm kind of thinking of is, say, like chronic back pain and Advil. People come to you and they have back pain, and if you're just like a product salesman for Advil, like, oh, take Advil, you'll feel better. And then tomorrow you got to take more Advil and you'll feel better. But the chronic back pain doesn't actually go away. So if the customer is just coming to you with symptoms, you say, I have back pain, you're like, oh, I have this product that fixes back pain, then yeah, you might be able to sell. But where the real expert, the real doctor comes in and says, oh, your joints or whatever, something physically is messed up, so let's do 6 months of rehab, or let's actually do surgery, or whatever it is. They fix the root cause of the issue, and then once they fix that, the back pain goes away and they don't even need Advil. But the top level person just says, oh, I have this thing that can fix it. The actual expert knows the reasons for it, the root causes of the issue, and helps them solve the root cause as opposed to just the symptoms.